Salute everyone. This is Bronx Sports Jedi. Welcome you to tonight's edition of MMA Talk with Austin and Bronx Sports Jedi. And Dan will be coming in here. Chef Dan will be coming in at around 8:30 this evening. We'll break it down. Austin, how you doing?
Doing all right. I mean, doing better, but I'm doing good now. So, how about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Feeling much better. Thank God we're feeling all much more better and healthy. Ready to go, man. It was a wonderful past weekend of MMA fighting in the world of MMA, UFC 265. I'm very excited with that. We know there's breaking news. We have our first your interim French heavyweight champion. Salute to the new champ. Was that a shocker or what?
I mean, it really should have been. I mean, I predicted Derrick Lewis to win. But I honestly, Ciryl Gane was the favorite for a reason, and he had a lot, very tactical, very athletic, very skillful, and he used it in this fight against Derrick Lewis, and just, fought a brilliant fight. I mean, maybe his best performance of his career, Zero's career, arguably. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to him, the first French-born, interim champion. I mean, some say UFC champion. Depends whether or not you want to count interim as a legitimate championship or not. Take your pick. But still, he is on the record books as a French-born UFC champion.
Correct. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to add Chef Dan to the program. Chef Dan, what's going on, my main man?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing? Austin, BX, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm glad you're on here this evening with us. How's everything? All right?
Everything's good. You got the poster up. It's good times. Sports
I
is
love it.
coming back.
I love it.
Sports is coming back. So, football, basketball is coming back. Baseball is in full rotation. Everything's going good, man. But let's get right to this UFC card.
Austin, where would you like to start, my main man?
I like to start with the first fight of the main card, Song Yong Dong defeating Casey Kenny via split decision. Even though I unfortunately couldn't watch the fight. I mean, I was listening to the fight while before leaving work, but it seemed like to me Sung Yong Dong was just somewhat a step ahead of Casey Kenny. I mean, you saw the fight, right, Dan?
Yes, I did. That fight, you're exactly right. It wasn't that Song Yadong. I don't know how else to say it. He, in a way, he outclassed him without outclassing him, because he really, that's my notes. That's my notes for the fight. Is that I feel like he did just enough to keep Kenny at bay, and he did a whole lot of he just did enough. Like, Casey Kenny wanted to bring forward pressure. But what Song Yadong was able to do was just land enough body blows, land enough shots to just keep him distant. And whenever he did try the forward pressure, it was angles and shots. That's all he did. And whenever they did get close enough, he initiated the clinch, started to move Casey along the cage, hit him, while in the clinch, and then after that separated right back to the pace that he wanted. So it wasn't a firework type of fight, but it's a match that you could watch back and see, where the fundamentals are.
Okay, and that makes sense. Excuse me, apologize for that. It seemed like. Did you agree with that? The split decision, was it really that close in your opinion? Because it seems like to me you feel like Song Yong Dong won the fight clearly.
Yeah, it was a split decision. You know what? I can't agree with the split decision. I could more so seeing this go 29-28, all three judges.
Gotcha.
I don't see a round that Casey Kenny, I don't remember vividly a round that Casey Kenny really, he did enough to at least, argue that round. All three rounds were just Song Yadong. That was it.
Okay, so you agree with the one judge who gave it a Song Yong 30-27?
Yeah. It even, yeah, it wasn't major. He just outclassed him enough. I could see it even at 30-27. I could see that, especially really the second round. The second round separated them. I'd say the second round would be the round that you really separated them, because Casey Kenny, it was just like at the end of the first round, they ended kind of in a I think in a scramble where you felt like maybe Casey Kenny was coming on, but then that second round, that's the time where you really, after coming back from a horrible loss and you're ending it on a horrible round and you're ending it on a good note, you really want to come back and emphasize your pressure and your dominance in the second round. But Song Yadong just like took the wind out of his sails.
Gotcha. And shout out to Project Nerd HQ. Salute to all. Salute to you as well. Thank you for watching. And yeah, and okay, so seemed like to me that that makes sense. So it seemed like Casey had it seemed like a strong end of the second round. Song was able to basically dictate the fight, and Casey's fighting his fight, and Casey couldn't just get it going, really, basically. And it sounded like that in the commentary, but like I said, I couldn't see it. I was just listening to it. You saw it, so that's what seems like. That seemed like that's what you saw watching the fight.
Yes, that was completely it.
That Song Dong fight, wasn't that what a bunch of a chorus of boos with the decision of the judges? I thought there was a bunch of boos and disagreement with the crowd. I still think Song Young won, but I thought not to the spite of the crowd.
I don't know if it was that. Was it that fight or was it the
there was
a
fight? There was quite a few. There were like 2 or 3 fights that it could be some of the prelims as well, but I know I don't know, because they were in Houston and due to the reputation that Houston judging how the MMA community dislikes their method of judging or their thinking, and I think they just I don't know, but I remember hearing a course of a few boos.
Yeah, it might have been, but I don't disagree with the judgment. It was as I watched that fight, like I said, it was clear to me. Like, as I said, I took my notes, and in the middle of the third round, you're never really supposed to count out a fighter because you feel like one shot could change the tide of the fight. But Song was just so fundamentally sound, and he kept to his pace so much that it was one of those fights that actually, that fight and another fight that I really, I determined the winner before the judgment went to it, because I felt like, and the judgment that I made corresponded with the judges because that was what was seen.
Gotcha. Okay, and yeah, I mean, Houston, Texas, Texas in general, judging sometimes has been very spotty, and it doesn't have like the best reputation. So, I mean, just look at I forget what UFC was. It was last year, right before the pandemic, the February pay-per-view of 2020 when Jones fought Reyes, and things like that, and that was in Houston. Yeah, Texas sometimes judging is not the best when it comes to MMA. But I think it might have been the Bobby Green fight where maybe that was the boos came from when he lost to Raufeon
Rafael Fiziev.
Fiziev, here we go. That's
Yes.
I think that were the boos. But it's possible they might have been booing the Song Young decision also. But what?
Yeah, no, that fight, yeah. I don't know if you want to get into the prelims after we go through some of the main card, but yeah, that fight definitely, I remember them booing for the decision there, but I don't really remember them booing for the Song Yadong. Maybe I didn't pay attention to the crowd because like I just felt like it was so right. It was like, let's get on to the next fight.
Gotcha. Okay, and speaking of the next fight, let's jump into it. I mean, Song Yadong maybe he's probably like outside top 15. Maybe he may get top 15 matchup potentially, and I guess we'll move on to the next fight, which was a strawweight fight between 2 top 15 females in Tisha Torres and Angela Hill, who had already fought 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago, and Tisha Torres won that fight, and she wins the rematch. 30-27, and 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards, one at 29-28. it seemed like in this fight it was stand up. The first fight was grappling, which I do remember the first fight. A lot of grappling despite the Mexico City altitude. But in this fight, it seemed like Tisha just had the better strikes. Angela took her down. It seemed like Angela didn't really do much with the grappling, the takedowns. And Tisha, who I know somewhat has a karate stance, I believe, but she's not exactly known for being the most greatest stand-up girl fighter in the world. She is tough. I mean, all her losses have been to, champions, Ruby Rose, Joanna, your Jacek, Weili Zhang, and Jessica Andrade.
But
But
they were both currently on a winning streak, so one of their winning streaks had to end.
right, it looks like Angela's ended. And what you thought of the fight, Dan?
I only have one sentence for that match, and that is Angela Hill got outclassed. And I'm a big fan of her. And that's the only note that I have because Tisha, like, it was a stand-up. It was a stand-up fight. It was a stand-up fight, and I felt like Angela Hill was supposed to win that. But coming
I
in,
agree.
I don't know if you saw Angela Hill's condition just before the ring, just before the bell rang, but it felt like she maybe I don't know, to me it looked like she cut too much weight.
A bad weight cut might affect her performance, basically.
Yeah, I felt like it like a bad weight cut might have perfected her performance because she, she didn't look she didn't look as energetic as she usually does. She looked like she needed water. I don't know how else to say it. Like you could see it and her bones were showing. And usually at the very least, like on her legs, she has more skin to her legs, that her bones aren't showing much more, but in her shoulders all the way, like I don't want to make excuses for her, but it just felt like maybe she had a bad camp and a bad weight cut as far as that goes. But she got outclassed in the stand up. It felt like she wanted to grapple and Tisha wanted to stand up. And that's not
And
the way it was
Tisha's
supposed to
hands
be.
were faster.
Tisha's hands were way
Yes.
faster. And she kept charging in. And it felt like the only time that Angela Hill could have got something maybe going is we go right back to the new famous, not so famous, but new famous tactic is using your leg kicks. And she did not want to use her leg kicks. She more so wanted to grapple and clinch. And Tisha was like, okay, if you want to keep me at a distance and try and come in closer, I'm just going to meet you halfway with a fist. And that's all she did was, what's her nickname? The Rocket?
Tisha's
No, the
Yeah.
tiny tornado.
Tornado.
Tiny
Yeah.
Tornado.
Yeah, but she ran through her like a tornado, like just boom, just kept coming forward with a punch after punch, and it was just. I feel like Angela Hill got outclassed that fight. That's it. I didn't give her
And
any round.
she took Angela Hill down a couple times too.
Yes,
And which
yes.
was surprising. She had a couple of takedowns. I think that would gave her that, in one judge, 30-27, all 3 rounds. She was more active. She, like you said, she kept she kept having Angela go back, and Angela just didn't use her hands, didn't move her hands, no activity. It was, it was like, do you really want to win the fight? It's like, she just there just for, no excuses. And then after the fight, she has to get to commenting that, like she act like she didn't lose again. I'm like, you lost. You wasn't inactive. You didn't do anything.
It was bad. It was really, really bad.
It was
I'm
surprised. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was saying I was surprised that it was striking because Angela's a good striker. She's one of the better female strikers in that weight class. Like, I mean, obviously, Joanna and Weili Zhang maybe, and Rose, but Angela's not bad. She got skills, and usually, Tisha beat her with grappling in the first fight, and now it was striking, which is kind of like threw me off. It was quite
This is
surprising.
what I'm sorry for cutting you off, but this is
But
what makes the loss bad in our eyes. Like, well, really in my eyes, is the fact that it's like we're going to get into the next fight, which was really a surprise,
oh yeah,
but it's something similar to that. Like your opponent took you to your own wheelhouse. They took you to where you're most comfortable, and they beat you at your own game. And that's what makes it look bad, is because you're known to be a better striker than her. When you guys faced off the first time, her wrestling is what got her by. So now you became a better all-around fighter, and you saw it in Angela Hill's fights. That she was just a better all-around fighter into where like you couldn't really her last couple of opponents really couldn't beat her in one segment, or if they did have the upper hand in one segment, she could take them to she could transition to another part of the game, and so she was comfortable enough to where she could get an advantage. But this time it just felt like, hey, I know you're good at striking, so let's get right to it. And she was just like, what? And it starstruck her. I don't know what happened, but it just that's what makes the loss bad, is that your opponent took you through your own wheelhouse and beat you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what makes it. You're right. That makes it worse. A girl who's not, on your level or equal to your striking, yet she beat you there. I mean, especially considering now you lost two times to Tisha Torres, and and it sets you back. And for Tisha, I think it's what, four in a row, or I think four in a row in terms of victories. I think she
It,
was.
I think they were both on an eight win streak. It's just that Tisha wasn't as active, or no, four,
No, no, it was like three. It wasn't four.
three,
I mean, it
three.
wasn't
Now
like it was.
Break.
It wasn't like eight.
I got a little breaking news that doesn't. It's not MMA related, but the Yankees just hit a 3-run home run. Aaron Judge in the Field of Dream games. Yankees 3, White Sox 1 in the top of the third inning. Sorry about that, guys. Just wanted to give that update for those MMA watchers and Field of Dream baseball followers.
it's good to know.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
nice. But
yeah, Tisha, yeah, she's on a win streak now, and she moves up in the weight class. And as far as Angela Hill, I don't know where she goes,
yeah, that's a great question. Where does she go now? Losing that,
because
that
you have to like it. You'd I I don't know how else to say this, but your barrier now in the weight class is Tisha. I feel like she's only gonna go as far as Tisha goes. And
yeah,
it's one of those things where, like, if Tisha gets to the championship, you're gonna have to make a pretty convincing case as to why that trilogy needs to happen, and why you feel like, hey, this time around it's gonna be a different result. I don't
she
like. No one wants to see DC versus John Jones the third time.
no, no, yeah. I mean, the only time they did was when DC was heavyweight champ and Jones teased it. That was the only time. Even then, there's still a lot of people who didn't want to see it because what happened the first two fights.
Exactly. So like you just now you're only like I hate to say it, but her career may be contingent on how far Tisha goes. And if Tisha does happen to be inactive enough to where like her name doesn't ring due to unforeseen circumstances, then maybe, Angela Hill can catch the one up on a few fighters, win a couple of matches, and then, put her name in contention. But it's always going to be, as long as Tisha's in the same weight class, you're always going to have that one person that has the record against you.
Right, exactly, and that's a good point. And for Tisha, I mean, she's gonna have to fight a top 10 strawweight girl. Who knows? I mean, there are a lot of options in the strawweight division. This is the best women females division, not just in UFC, but maybe in all of MMA. 115 in the UFC. You can make a debate there, and this.
Uh, so then let's make that debate, because what I feel was the better division is the men's welterweight division.
Oh, no, no, no! I
And we
meant
saw,
female. I meant
oh,
females
female.
only females, and female MMA, not division general, just females only.
Oh, well, yeah, that division could make a case, yeah. As far as the female division, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. If we're talking about, because I'm separating the men and women in this case, but since you mentioned the 170 division, which is really on fire, I mean, it's been very good. I mean, let's talk about the next fight, which is the third fight, was Vincenzo Luque defeated Michael Chiesa by a Darce choke in the first round. A lot happened in this fight. A lot happened.
A lot happened all in that one round. And hey, to you guys who feel like wrestling doesn't belong in MMA, this was exciting wrestling. This
Yes.
was all exciting wrestling. And it was all about who I don't, oh man. because I don't want to say that and contradict it, but it is just positioning. It's positioning and who was more clever at that moment. And Vicente Luque came out on top because if you guys saw the fight, then you saw that Michael Chiesa, he had the advantage going through all the transitions in wrestling that they went through. They went through a lot of transitions in wrestling, but Michael Chiesa, what did he start off with? What choke did he start off? What
It was
submission
a,
did he?
I think it was not rear naked. It was a guillotine. No, I think it was guillotine. I believe guillotine. No, because he transitioned to a
No, it
Darce.
was
I
like
remember how but
it was like a gauntlet or like kind of like a dragon type of sleeper. It was a weird, but we like kind of reversed it.
I
yeah,
know he was going for a sleeper, and then
Luque was in trouble for a second.
yeah, and then he fought out of it. They transition, and then Chiesa goes for the armbar, and that's where he messed up. Was it the armbar or no? He went for a sleeper. He went for a back sleeper, and then Vicente slipped him out, and then he went for an armbar, and then Vicente Luque he comes up into the armbar, and that's where he's clever enough to just like they transition again, and then he gets the Darce. He gets the Darce, and then he gets enough of it, and then he locks it in and separates Michael from his knees because Michael was trying to he tried to get his arm around his leg to fold up Vicente Luque to try and get out of the Darce, but Vicente he just stretched his body out enough and moved Michael Chiesa way to the other side of his hip, and he got that Darce, and it was clean. And Chiesa, had no choice but to tap it. It was oh my gosh, it was high level wrestling, and
Yeah,
Vicente Luque's
And
name will ring bells throughout this
and
division.
that's one of the bonus fights of the night, by the way, just to give you that little tidbit on that.
yeah,
Yes,
he won performance of the night, and he deserved it because that was impressive. He was in danger, countered to a Darce choke, and within like 30 seconds after Chiesa took him down. And it was like no one saw that coming because Luque is he's got a lot of power. He likes to a lot of people associate with striking. Although this was his third Darce choke, and I think he's got a couple decent amount of submissions. He might be a black belt jiu-jitsu or at least very good at it. I'm not sure. I forget honestly. I apologize for that. But
I heard he was either a purple or brown belt or something like that. That's the last I heard. I might have, I don't know. I might have heard that for either one of the other competitors or for him throughout the cast. Because I didn't write down some of those little tidbits, but I think to me that was the second best fight of the night.
that
He
was
he won. He earned his black belt that night. Yes,
Yeah, I believe so.
you're
So then he
correct.
was a brown belt. Yes.
Okay, because Michael Chiesa is like a black belt himself, and probably has one of the better offensive submission games. Although I think it's possible. I forget who I heard it from. I don't remember my brother or somebody mentioned that Chiesa sometimes defensively has some deficiencies defensively in grappling, like because Jorge Masvidal when he was a lightweight submitted Michael Chiesa, which is just kind of crazy considering Michael Chiesa has the grappling advantage. Now, granted, 155 was not Chiesa's weight class, didn't belong there, but also Kevin Lee submitted him, and I also Anthony Pettis. Pettis is pretty good off his back, but maybe submission wise, maybe defensively, sometimes he believes himself open to get submitted especially if you're a good to great grappler potentially. That's something it's possible. Maybe that's the case, or I could be just wrong. Maybe it's just he got unlucky because he does have a decent amount of submission victories as well. So
No, I feel like this just could have gone any way. Like I feel like if Chiesa broke the Darce choke, I think that it would have continued, and he may have gotten back the advantage. But this was just a wild transitioning battle, and it was all about who got the better position and what they could do with it. And Chiesa was very, very aggressive in his approach. I don't think this was I don't think Vicente Luque planned on choking out Michael Chiesa.
no, he
I don't
didn't.
like this was at the end of this fight. I put it out there. I was like, I feel like no one would have made the bet that Vicente Luque was gonna choke out Michael Chiesa, like was gonna win the fight via submission. I don't think anyone would have made that bet. I don't think anyone would have taken money and gone to Vegas to make that exact bet.
Nah, I wouldn't. I think most people wouldn't. And it's a great victory for Luque because these were both top six, number five, number six in the welterweight division. And yes, it was a 4-fight winning streak, but after this, it's broken. Luque, I think he's won. This is his 10th victory in his last 11 fights. He obviously has that Wonder Boy loss, but I think this is his fourth victory since the Wonder Boy loss, or third. So he puts himself in the top five. You know, the top five of the UFC welterweight division is interesting because all Vince Luque has to do is probably win one more fight, and he fights for the world title. It'd be hard. It's hard to deny him. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, especially after this performance, and Kamaru Usman, is one to fight him. They're both, Usman and him used to train together at the same gym in South Florida. I know Gilbert Burns, who's in his corner, is also welterweight, but I think the thing is they're less willing to fight each other, unlike Kamaru and Gilbert were earlier in the year, or Gilbert or Kamaru and Luque. Especially now, Kamaru trains with Jared Whitman in Colorado, so it's possible. I mean, it could be maybe Gilbert and Luque, they feel like they have to fight each other. Like maybe they offer enough money, they might do it. I know sometimes teammates don't like to do it, but sometimes there are points where teammates will have to accept it and just do it and just fight or go different weight class.
I'm not gonna lie. Naturally, when you asked me what Vicente Luque's next fight is, the first name that came to my mind was Gilbert Burns, especially coming off of the Wonder Boy Thompson victory. I feel like those two, that'd be a beautiful striking match that could possibly go to like I don't know. Those guys are just both technically sound in every area of the game, so it'd be an exciting matchup. But if those two don't fight, then
Leon
I
Edwards?
don't. I would either say Leon Edwards or Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. It could be done. It could be Jorge or yeah, because Gilbert wants Jorge, and I think Jorge and them have gone back and forth. Now, do they make does that fight happen? Who knows? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it, but it could be Gilbert, Gilbert or Luque and Jorge possibly, maybe. That'll be exciting fights. It's a fight Jorge could definitely have a chance in, but or Luque
Gilbert
can
did
win too.
Gilbert did Gilbert did call out Mazarov, and they're in contract talks to try to make that fight work. So I don't know how far they got, because I think the Lewis and Mazarov is not, but he looks like it's
Luque,
gonna be Burns and Mazarov for no Gilbert Burns and Mazarov.
right, but no, I was just saying you said Lewis. I was just saying you meant Luque.
No, also Lewis. It was supposed to be Mazarov and Lewis were supposed to go at it, but that
Wait,
fell through for some reason.
wait, Lewis
Who's
who? Who's Lewis?
Give me find it. Hold on, I find the tweet. I was reading on the tweet. Um, Leon
Uh,
Lewis.
Leon Edwards, you mean?
Leon Edwards, excuse me. I'm new to the MMA fighting world
Yeah,
there.
right. Yeah. I mean, that's a fight because that is history. Considering Jorge did, hit him with the infamous three-piece in the soda in England, the backstage. So I mean, those two guys are back. I personally, that's the fight I want to see Jorge in go again, fight next. Him and Leon sell that score. But it could be, maybe if it doesn't happen, you could do Gilbert and Leon because Gilbert has been calling out Leon a lot, talking a lot of shit, and Leon's responded. So it could be that. It could
Oh,
that.
fellas, give me one moment. BX, I gotta take care of
Yeah.
something. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You'll be right back. We'll just come right
Go
back
ahead.
into the backstage. Yeah. So we could see that fight is going to happen. Like you said, there's a lot of crap talking between these guys. We want to see we know the fight's gonna get done. Mazarov will get the fight going. Knowing now he is he's always puts up a shut up. And whenever hey, you want to fight this guy, he never ducks. He never shies away, and he's willing to fight anybody, any competitor at any locations. Now, what do you think his trajectory should go for Mazarov, or any of these fighters that we're speaking about right now?
Luque's well, I think it should be maybe Gilbert, Leon, or Masvidal. Those are the three options for him that he should fight next. Especially, like I said, all he needs is one more victory, and it'd be hard to deny him a title fight, considering this is 10 victory, 11 tries. I think he's on a 4-fight winning streak now. So we'll see. Well, any one of those three options are good enough. And it looks like Dan, you're back.
Yep, I'm back. Yeah.
Okay. But
What we were still talking about Vicente Luque versus
yeah.
Michael Chiesa. Yeah,
Well,
what
yes.
who do you guys think his next fight should be?
I think personally, I mentioned Masvidal, Leon, or Gilbert. One of those three guys. That's my choice. One of those three, because like I said, one more victory and it's hard to have a title fight.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree to that. Yeah, that's it. So we gonna get on to the next fight, this bantamweight
Yes, Jose Aldo, but
versus Pedro Munhoz, because that
The
to me
co-main event.
that was the best fight of the night.
really,
And that was a replacement. That was a replacement co-main event
for
from
Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena, and this
Yes.
was the best fight of the night to me. Yes, even with Pedro Munhoz, and I him and Corey Sandhagen both had a problem with this. I put in quotations, no more spinning attacks in all capitals, because he kept doing that.
I don't know why.
But aside from those spinning attacks, this to me was the best fight of the night. It was Jose Aldo.
Okay.
The first round, he was not as active, but he was studying, and it was clear he was studying, because I wrote this down. First and second, all of Munoz's leg kicks, Jose Aldo checked them.
Yes, he did.
Like he did not land a single leg kick. All of them were checked, and oh my gosh, like this is like everyone was tweeting after the fight how much of a legend Jose Aldo is, and it is true. And that fight, like all his fights from now on, if you want to learn something as a young fighter or as someone as a fan of the game, and you just want to see certain things to watch for, you should watch Jose Aldo, because this was beautiful. It was beautiful. He checked everything, and he was just boxing. He was boxing. The first round, it was a first and second round were really just. It was close, but you could give it to either one, because Jose Aldo was not as active. Third through fifth, all his round, whatever he wanted,
second and third.
Took. I said second and third. Second and third. My fault.
Okay.
It felt like a 5-round fight. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
The third,
okay.
Yeah, the third round, it was all his fight. It was all his fight. Whatever he wanted, the second and third, whatever he wanted to land, he landed. It was all boxing. It was all boxing, and they made a note of it on the cast that he just recently was training with Marines with their boxing
in Brazil. Yep.
Yes, and so Jose Aldo, his boxing was so clean. There was a couple of shots, like you're just watching, like if you don't see the hit land, just watch the opponent's head rock back. Sometimes if you can't see because his hands are fast. You're not always gonna catch his hands move. So if you don't see his hands move, watch Pedro Munhoz's head rock back. His head is rocking back constantly. There were times where Pedro, he's trying to enter into his range, trying to get into a point where he feels like he's comfortable enough to land, and he took a step just too close, and Jose just extends and pops him right in his face. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Pedro Munhoz put up a great fight. It was a close round in the I wrote in the second round. It was really it was close, but really Jose Aldo all the way, and he needs a title fight in this division. He needs a title fight in this division.
Well, first of all, let me start with the. I'll answer that. Let me just start with the fight. Aldo looked great. I mean, one thing that surprised me that I was so shocked. This is the most significant strikes he landed in a UFC fight. In WEC fight, consider he's been in WEC UFC since like 2007, 2006. And people forget he was 23 when he was the WEC featherweight champion. He is arguably the youngest champion of a major MMA organization in history. He's even younger than John Jones by a couple hundred days. And the thing, and we all remember him destroying Uriah Faber's leg, and some of the title fights he had would be Chad Mendes, the second fight, or the Pearl Lamas, or fights like that, or Mark Hominick. And to think this was the most significant strikes he'd thrown in a UFC and slash WEC fights, kind of shocking, and gotta give him credit. I mean, there were moments where Aldo was patient and slow, but then once he attacked, he attacked. He just hit him with a bunch of shots, just kept throwing them, messing up Pedro, and he checked the leg kicks. I mean the calf kick, especially because American top team fighters in particular, which Pedro Munhoz is, are known to do that calf kick, and Aldo just shut it down, which would make sense if one fighter would be able to do that. It would be Aldo, considering his leg kicks are legendary. I mean, he has arguably some of the best leg kicks ever, even though he doesn't use it like he used to. Supposedly a Morasox might play a part. Allegedly, I'm not sure. That's just not sure that's true or not. With why he doesn't throw leg kicks, but
No,
but
he threw a couple of leg kicks in the second round. He threw a couple because they made a note of that, or it was no, it was the third round where he began throwing leg kicks, but the commentators made a note of that, like especially the Uriah Faber fight where they were like, yo, he he's the guy that's usually throwing leg kicks. They don't know why he didn't set the tone with leg kicks, but he didn't need to.
he needs to. Yeah, his boxing was enough. He just
Mm-hmm.
outboxed him, checked the leg kicks, outboxed him, and yes, was a step ahead of Pedro Munhoz. Even though he's only 35, he's 35, but he's been fighting for a long time. Yeah, he's still one of the elite fighters, especially at bantamweight. Considering Aldo was the guy that used to struggle at 145 to make 145. Excuse me, not struggle to make the weight at 145. Excuse me, to the point where some people are talking about him going up in lightweight,
Yeah,
155, and yeah, he's making his weight easy and he's effective. And I disagree with you that he needs a title fight after this performance. I mean, yes, he's won two in a row, which is impressive, but to me, he needs. I think at least one more victory. If he can, win another fight, like a Corey Sandhagen or TJ Dillashaw, or Raufeon, like if he were to beat one of those three guys, then yes, we'll give him another shot at the world title.
I give like he said this, and this was funny, but he goes, I expect it to be TJ Dillashaw next, and then I'm fighting for the title. Says that's what he expects. And I'm not gonna lie, the way he made him like, oh man, we really just we coming off that Sandhagen versus Dillashaw fight, we didn't know how the bantamweight division is gonna shake out because it could go a myriad of ways. But right now, like Jose Aldo's is making this way more fun
Yeah,
because we really can't forget about Rob Font.
no, we can't. Yeah, yeah, but I think you just said it. We're forgetting about Raufeon now because of what Dillashaw and how close the Dillashaw Sanger fight was, and now all those performance. Raufeon is the one odd man out. Even though Raufeon had a great performance against Cody Garbrandt, and he's no slouch either. I mean, Raufeon and Aldo's a great fight. Fon Dillashaw or Fon and Sandhagen. Either way, those are all exciting. Those are juicy fights you want to see, and it's nice. You got like a 4-man, because Jan and Stern are going to sell their score. We're going to find out who the bantamweight champions by October 30th in Abu Dhabi. So they'll sell that, and then there's 4 guys in that mix who, I mean, Sagan only needs is one victory, and he's probably gonna fight for the world title. Same with Aldo. Dillashaw can make a case and get a title fight because Dillashaw never lost the title. He got stripped. And he just won his fights. It was close. And Aldo, wait, Sagan, Font, no, and Font arguably deserves a title fight. Someone made a case for Font getting his next fight for the title. So bantamweight's exciting. I mean, it's a lot of options. I mean, it's one of the more exciting divisions in MMA. There's you can debate 135 in UFC, 170 UFC, which was the better weight class. It's a debate to have at least. And can't wait to see. What happens next with Aldo, and even Pedro Munhoz. I mean, Munhoz is still a top 10 bantamweight. He's not exactly a slouch. I mean, who knows what they give him next?
Yeah, it could even go to a point of where we how do we have it? I don't know if Dana would do this because he refused to do it with Volkanovski and Holloway, but you could have it where because the first fight between Aljamain and Peter were it was controversial.
Yep.
The second fight could be really, really close, come down to a decision that's disagreeable, and then we have to, they have to run it back. And I don't know, maybe Dana goes like, I'm not making the same mistake with Volkanovski Holloway, and I'm making them run it back. Or he could just go like, Volkanovski and Holloway didn't run it back, so you guys I just have to find new opponents for you guys. It could be like that, and then from there, that changes the way the division looks as well. There's a lot of different directions. You're right. This division is really exciting.
Yes, and I can't wait to see more of these bantamweights. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens next. And well, like I said, hopefully the bantamweight title fight on October 30th does not end up in that controversial close decision, or we don't or any other controversy at all. Hopefully, we have a clear cut winner. We know one, and we can move on. It's better for the division. We don't want to be held up. Now,
Yes.
you're right, exactly. No one wants that. Fans don't want that. The fighters don't want that. Obviously, the bantamweights don't want that. So yeah, well, October 30th. Like I said, we'll break it down once we get closer, obviously, to the fight. We'll talk more about that bantamweight title fight. Now for the main event, Ciryl Gane beating Derrick Lewis, third round TKO, and this might I was saying this earlier when we first started today. This might have been Ciryl Gane's best performance of his career. This arguably could have been considering who he did it against and what he did. I mean, Zaragon, was just his skill level was unbelievable. I mean, he tagged Lewis, tagged his legs, hit Derrick Lewis, and avoid getting hit mostly. He was able to dodge, go back, and even did the what I like to call the Alexander Gustafsson because he's the first fighter I saw do this, which is run away. Like to actually run from getting hits, and he even did that and never got. Daryl was in true danger at any point. Like, well, I mean, you're against Derrick Lewis, and you're always somewhat in danger, but never got rocked or anything too hard. And Zero just picked him apart and just was able to beat him in the third round in the in front in Derrick's hometown and made it look easy. And excuse me, now we potentially gonna have two former training partners fighting for the heavyweight title with him and Ngannou. And what are your thoughts of the fight?
Um, you're absolutely right. As far well, I don't want to say that this is Gon's best. Well, this is technically his best fight to date, but I don't want to say that this was the best fight we've seen him fought yet because I don't feel like Derrick Lewis pushed him in any way. Not to say that Derrick Lewis wasn't dangerous; he's always dangerous. But watching this fight, man, it reminded me of Derrick Lewis versus DC. And not to say that, not because of the approach that, well, not to say like it's because, Ciryl Gane took I'm not saying that Ciryl Gane took a wrestling heavy approach. He didn't. He took a more kickboxing approach, right?
Right.
But here's what I say the similarity between DC and Derrick Lewis and Ciryl Gane and Derrick Lewis is that when Derrick Lewis is facing someone who's really technically sound, right?
Right.
But also doesn't isn't going to fall for their own ego and doesn't come out of themselves and knows what the game plan is and will not deviate from the game plan.
Right.
That's when he has a guy that gives him trouble because DC he essentially chop him at the legs, remove his power, then ground get him to the ground, and then from there I'm gonna take it over. That's what he did. As far as Ciryl Gane, like it looked like, and this is, it looked like he watched the game tapes. He knows that Derrick Lewis is not going to initiate in the first round. So what did he do for the first round? He just chopped at Derrick's legs. That's it.
Right.
It was essentially just chopping at Derrick's lead leg. So now by the time we get to, the third round, Derrick Lewis does not have a leg to stand on to deliver that power. And Derrick Lewis has never been the guy to check those leg kicks. So that's all. For me, that's what Ciryl Gane showed us, was that he knows it. He is of those different stature of those guys. He is a top contender because that's what those guys are. That's what those guys do. Those guys, they come in with a game plan and they don't deviate from the game plan. And you rarely can get those guys to deviate from the game plan. You can rarely show them something that to make them go, okay, all right, plan A isn't gonna work.
Right.
Now here's and I was talking to BX about this over the weekend. Who should he be fighting? Because they have him as the interim champion, and technically his next fight should be Francis Ngannou, right?
Right.
But the thing is, Stipe can make a case for his next fight to be Francis Ngannou.
Yes.
So, it's really fluid who the next fighter is going to be for who the next contender is. And Francis even said it himself after the fight. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but the video is out there that he's watching on a boat or something, and he's going, "Congratulations to Ciryl Gane for being the interim champion. You're the new number 2. You're the new number 1 guy. Well, actually, you're number 2 because Stipe is number 1. But don't forget it. I'm the champ. I'm king."
Yep.
So, and he has that. He didn't fabricate anything when he said that. He didn't lie at all when he made that statement. Right. So it's interesting. It's really fluid, and we still have a guy named John Jones out there who recently gave up a title. And when you give up a title, usually go straight for the title match.
Yeah, you're right. And but
now I want to get on that the heavyweight title fight. I know someone on this panel last week called for the upset, for the win. There, someone used their Jedi forces, picked the French champion.
What? Le champion?
Le champion, a little bit of the bubbly. There's more ways than one. There's a lot of French connection with the popping of the bubbly. You know what I mean? Well, we'll get to break to that because somebody's rights got renounced by the team, no longer part of the organization. And it's what a day to celebrate.
Can we get to the fights? I know the poster's behind me. Can we get to the fights?
Hold on a second. Oh, just gotta pop the bubbly a little bit.
Oh man,
I don't know. No, but the fight was good. I like you said about the champion Ciryl Gane. I seen him fight better, stronger fight. I seen him have some devastating knockouts prior to this fight with Lewis, but he planned it properly. You wrote it down. You said it perfectly. First few rounds, he chopped on the legs where this man is top heavy and his power comes from the legs as well. And if he doesn't have the legs to stand on, he can't deliver his power on that. And he knew he was defeated. He was a defeated man when he knew his legs. He had no legs to and Gane fought a smart fight. He cut the ring. He moved the ring and out. He didn't fight in close, but he did get close when he needed to, and he bob and weave, in and out, and and he had a game plan. It wasn't the prettiest or the flashiest, but it won him the interim title. And you got to give that game plan for that man. That man had no scratches on his face, fresh, ready to go. What you could say, he deserved to come out with that win. Lewis was disappointing because he didn't have activities, and it's not because he didn't want to fight. It's that those legs were hurting, man. It was burning because we're gonna break down that fight. You saw what happened to Ed Hearns with his legs. Holy
Yep.
crap! You know,
Which
talk
is why,
about
like, no, in credit to you, which
again,
is
Dan.
why I said to me, I said to myself, like, right after that fight, I was like, okay, the Jose Aldo fight was the best fight to me, because he had a guy who he studied his opponent, so he checked the leg kicks. He goes, I'm gonna take away your plan A. What's your plan B? And that's what,
Right.
like, that's what makes some of the greats the greats. Is it's not really that they have your ability to take away your plan A, right? Which is why I said we haven't seen Ciryl Gane's best fight yet. Is that what happens when you take away the guy's plan A? What happens now? What is his plan B? And we saw that with we saw that, we've seen that plenty of times with Stipe. Stipe has proven it. And he's proven the ability to take away someone's plan A and get them flustered and go, okay, well, now what's your plan B? We saw him do that to Francis the first fight, which is why, it was so amazing, the growth that Francis made, and he showed the maturity that he showed in the second fight. So yeah, like, Ciryl Gane was just, it like you said, we could liken it to the Ed Herman fight. That Ed Herman fight was nasty. It was nasty.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Ed Herman, he battled, man. He really tried to and give it his best. Despite his legs turning into chop liver there, man. And it was just, it was all black and blue. It looked, at the end of the fight, they show, if you have a chance to tweet, look at his tweet of the post picture. It was really a gruesome, black and blue. They didn't look at the beginning. It was all nice and red, but after that, that's why, oh my God, he really got a numbered on his legs. He really didn't have a leg to stand on, literally, to fight that fight. And for him to go the whole distance, a lot of courage to that man.
And, for the viewer's sake, what the fight we're mentioning is the Alonzo Menafield versus Ed Herman fight in the light heavyweight division. And Alonzo Menafield, the notes that I have is, for him, it was a complete fight for someone that's a power fighter. And what I mean in that sense is, sometimes power fighters have a tendency to just feel like they can end it with their power. So they're just going to rush in and blow their tank out all in the first and second round. But Alonzo had enough in the third round that he could have ended this fight on strikes. But he stayed to the game plan. It was all like, he knew what was landing, the leg kicks in round one. So he continued that theme all throughout the fight. And it got to a point where it was so bad that the doctors came in for the third round and they were looking at Ed Herman's leg. They were questioning whether to continue the fight or not.
Yeah, and they should have stopped it, at least in the third round, before the start of the third round. But hey, the guy, kudos, that man came to fight. He came to entertain the crowd in Houston, and earn his pay. He trained his butt off for that fight. Hard work and dedication, and you got to respect that. With one leg, he was still there battling, throwing punches, throwing haymakers, and trying to see if he gets a knockout. And that's a hard. That's a heart that you can't measure that, man. That heart of that man.
Oh, I was gonna say I disagreed with you. I felt like the doctors made a great decision in not stopping the fight, because especially in the third round, the reason why Alonzo Menafield could not go into the power fighter mode was because, like you said, on that one leg, he was still landing shots and he was rocking Alonzo Menafield. It was to a point where, Alonzo got wobbly legged a couple times and he had to back up and reassess himself. But Ed Herman was a fighter through and through. This isn't a knock on him. I feel like he's an older fighter, so he just has to, get with the times. I think get with a younger training camp and look at what some of these younger guys are doing and how these younger guys are attacking the game, and readjust if he wants to continue to fight. But he's a fighter through and through.
I agree.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I saw highlights that seemed like, Herman got his leg attacked and Landfield basically just was able to, dominate. Well, I won't say dominate him, but like was able to control the fight basically. And yeah, and to answer your heavyweight, going back to the heavyweight title fight, I think it looks like Francis and Zero is next because the UFC typically likes to have the interim and actual champion fight each other just to get out the way. And there have been times where a guy has to defend the interim belt, and Stipe does have a legit shot. You make a case he should get a Troji fight, but the thing is, Francis originally turned it down when he beat Stipe. He was like, "Nah, I don't want to do a Troji fight." Basically, he was like saying there was like no point. So it's kind of weird how now he's more open to the Choji fight now, knowing that Zero Gone won. Just like, why didn't you do it then? Plus, I
Well,
mean, go ahead.
I won't say that there's a lot of rumors out because there was I can't say that he just flat out denied the fight. What I can say is that what I've heard was that the scheduling that they made for him was just a bad time for him, and they tried rescheduling I think two other times, and both those two other times were bad timings for Francis. I'm guessing maybe he wants to fight in Africa, maybe. I don't know, but I I I won't say that he's denied that fight, but they made it. The UFC is back as pretty much backed him in the corner. He does have to take a fight soon.
I get, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's weird. He was ready to fight September, but yet they really wanted to fight in August summer. But anyway, that's probably the next fight. Stipe, I mean not Stipe, Francis and Zero. Which I mean, in that case, I mean Zero's got a great shot, a good shot beating Francis. Francis has the power because he is hardest hit. He might be the hardest hitting heavyweight the UFC's ever seen, and he has improved in some aspects. But Zero looks like a different beast. Like he looks like a guy that maybe I'm not saying he will, but maybe could rule his division for a while. But we'll see there.
I'm he may be, but like I said, Derrick Lewis. Now that Derrick Lewis is out the way, there's only a few guys left for Ciryl Gane to actually fight, and for him to the next possible fight for him, even if he doesn't fight Francis Ngannou next. But yeah, those guys are the guys that I feel are going to take away his plan A, and that's when I feel like we will really see the real Ciryl Gane, the guy that when his plan A isn't working, what is plan B for him, and that's going to be an even greater fighter. I feel.
Right, right, and we'll see. We'll see because I can see him taking Francis' game plan away, like plan A. But like I said, we'll see. That's when they make that fight. I mean, if Zero Gone were to fight this year and win, I mean, at that point he'll have to be fired a year, 4 fights in 1 year, win them all, and heavyweight champ. Or but it's possible Francis can knock him out because Francis does have that power. Francis is scary, but like I said, we'll see when they what happens if they do make that fight, which I think they will. Speaking, you mentioned the prelims earlier. You already talked about the Ed Herman fights in Manafield. One highlight that I saw that was really impressive. That I think he actually got the bonus, performance bonus was Miles John with third round,
Oh man,
dude.
excellent
Oh,
fight. Yes.
Body
yes.
and
Oh,
heads. I saw that. I was like, "Woo, that was beautiful." I like what I saw there.
Miles John versus Anderson dos Santos. Am I correct?
Yes, you're right.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my. Oh. 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 Yes. 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 That third round. Yes. That third round right hand KO. Yes.
Body
Yes.
and
Oh
Yes.
man.
headshot.
Left to the body. Left hand to the
Yep.
body. Right hand to the face. Knockout. He
Very
deserved it. He, oh
Oh
my God,
yeah.
he deserved the performance bonus. It was,
right.
and this is my notes for him. This is my notes for this. Five lines of notes. Miles wins the fight. He was way more skilled throughout the fight. Leg kicks won him the round one, and right hand KO. And I only have that much. That was all that's needed. He was so skilled. He was dancing around Anderson dos Santos. It. Oh my gosh, he is a competitor. Bantamweight is so exciting. The bantamweight is so exciting because that wasn't the only bantamweight fight that was also exciting. Aside from this fight and the Jose Aldo fight, there was another fight on this card that was really exciting. But Miles
Yeah.
Johns, kudos to him. Excellent, excellent, excellent KO.
Right, that was
The
nice. But
No, I was gonna say that I think the fight that you're referencing is Manuel Cape defeat Aldi Osborne with the knee when he had the knee
No,
and the punch, the KO.
no, those two are flyweights. The one that I was referencing was Draco Rodriguez versus Vince Morales. That fight to me was really good. I feel in the sense of both of those guys technically very sound, very very sound. My only critique was that Draco Rodriguez was too patient. I feel like he's a fighter, and he showed it in his last fight that he lost. He's a fighter that he likes providing pressure, but because he provided so much pressure in his last fight, that's how he lost. So this fight, he was trying to experiment with with patience. But guys like that, I feel like you don't let up on the pressure. You just choose when to turn it on. That's it. You don't let up. You don't just say, "Hey, I'm just gonna coast this entire fight, and then third round, I'm just gonna turn it on." It has to be in spurts, in random spurts, and you have to really, you have to give your pressure, and then after that, when you're not pressuring, you have to at least be active enough to, not feel like not make the judges feel like you're throwing away the fight. But those two were really, really technically sound. They stayed in each other's pockets, and it was landing and just missing by inches. That's it, just landing and missing by inches. That was a really good fight.
yeah,
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 that
it
was
seems
it, it. It was close. It was a close fight. The judges had it 30-27, 29-28, 29-28, unanimous. But it could have, three rounds could have went each way. If like you said, if Rodriguez would have done a little more, maybe he might have stolen a round and victory, in my opinion.
Yes. But to reference the fight you mentioned earlier, Manel Cop versus Ode Osborne. Oh my gosh. I said I was looking for Manel Cop to excite me. And
he
he
did.
did. But he didn't make weight. So now because he didn't make weight, Miles Johns ends up getting the bonus that he would have ended up getting because he ended flying knee in the first round. A
Yeah,
flying knee in the first, and the way he, like, they both, it was foot, it was, this is what I said about the fight. It was a footwork masterclass. It was just really about how to get in and out of each other's space with footwork, and that's what they did. Both of them were excellent with footwork, but then like, just to land a flying knee out of nowhere was crazy.
Right. Wow. Right, and that's and that's you were talking about him last week, Manel Cap. I believe you were talking about him, and he delivered, but he missed weight, which definitely hurts him. Especially in terms of money. He loses percentage of his purse because of that. Also, it'd be hard for him to get performance bonus for not making weight. And Mao John gets it. Also, Zeragon got it. I mean, originally the UFC didn't give it Zeragon, but then the reporter asked him about it, and he didn't want to change his mind. Gave Zeragon the performance bonus that maybe could have gone to Mao. I mean, Manel Cap, you may wait. So, yeah, it's important to make weight if you're a UFC fighter because you don't want to give up part of your money to your opponent, regardless you win or lose. And you don't want to get screwed out of a performance bonus because people like to make money, and it's price fighting.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like, the fights, your record is your record, and and you may gain or lose some, but these fights that you're making without weight, they don't look good on your record, and they don't help you propel to where you want to be. If you really want to live up to that name, star boy, that you've given yourself, then you have to make weight. You have to have that discipline. And DC said it
Terry?
on the commentary, that after the weigh-in, that DC went in the room and Manel looked at him. The first thing he said was, "I'm sorry for not making weight, but you gotta have that discipline because you're an exciting fighter. It's there. It's there."
Right. Right, and well, overnight, still it was a good night of fights for Houston for the UFC. Not just the pay per view, but also the prelims.
Oh
That's no,
yes.
yeah. I mean, you mentioned Miles Johnson, Mental Cap to Oh yeah, the Bobby Green fight. That was a entertaining fight. I think that was fight of the night. Green and Rafael Fizell.
Yeah, and this is the way I had to really divide this into three. I had to divide the my notes into three rounds because from the first round, the only thing I could write down was close. I
Mhm.
didn't know who to give that first round to. The
Okay,
judges ultimately ended up giving it to Rafael Fiziev, but the first round was really close. The second round was close as well, but I edged it out to Fiziev because of the leg kicks. I feel like he landed more leg kicks, and Bobby Green was on the retreat more. Um,
okay,
the third round, I felt like it was completely Bobby Green's round. He was just, it was just, I'm gonna make you miss, and I'm gonna land, and after I land, I'm gonna land and land and land, and then I'm gonna make you miss. I'm gonna readjust myself, and then I'm gonna land. And he was just, it was his round completely. He dominated round three, but I feel like just because rounds one and two were so close, and round two you could definitely edge it out to Fiziev, but round one it was I don't know. That one was really close.
okay. So it was one of those fights that's so close that you can't complain with the judge's decision. You'll live with it.
I lived with it. Yeah, it was like to me basically it was if it came out that Bobby Green had won the fight, then I would have been like, okay, then I feel like maybe Fazib just needed to be a little bit more aggressive, I'd say. And like, instead of just standing in the pocket and trying to land on Bobby Green, if you know that, you're not really good with the hands, go right to the wrestling. But, because Fazib won, I'd say to Bobby Green, he has to be more aggressive in the first round. Just be a bit more aggressive in the first round, and then ride out the way you did in the second and third round, and you could win your next fight. But yeah, that I lived with the decision.
Okay. Okay. So basically, okay. So overall, good night of fights. Great, great performances, great submissions. Like Luke King, Chiesa, great, performances like Ciryl Gane against Derrick Lewis. Also, Manel Cap and Miles John. And you gonna say something, Dan?
Yeah. In addition, because you said submission, it went right to my mind, and I'm looking at it right now. Jessica Penn, Jessica Penne
Yep.
versus Carolina Kowal.
Kovacevic,
Yeah, say that one more time.
Carolina Kovacevic.
Kowalkovic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who told her. I don't know who told her to do this, but Jessica Penn is on the ground. You know
Right.
she's a good wrestler. Why would you initiate the scramble on the ground? She's on her back
I
telling
don't
you,
know.
"Come here. I want you down here," and you say, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, Carolina's skill set is striking. I mean, she was. It's not grappling. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like that doesn't make sense to me. It seems like that was almost. She made a giant. I made a giant mistake, and it cost him the fight. And now, Penne got her first victory in a while, so good for Penne. But Carolina, it's like just I don't know what she had a mental collapse. She didn't have smart fight IQ, and it seems like
Yeah.
in that situation.
Oh my gosh. When you say mental collapse, I have to agree with that completely because it's like that's the only. What is it? Is that is the only two notes I have for this is that first round submission via armbar, and say her last name one more time so I can get it.
Carolina Kowalkiewicz.
Kowalkovic. There we go.
Cool.
Kowalkovic initiated the scramble. And I remember that clear as day because it was like, why? Why did you initiate the scramble? Who told you to initiate the scramble? And whoever told you to initiate the scramble on the ground, fire them.
Yes, fire them exactly because they screw you over. They did not know they didn't do their homework. And I want to correct one day. This is Penny's second fight in a row that she won. She had won. She was on a losing streak, but she hadn't fought in a while. Now now she's just her second fight this year, and she's won two in a row. So Good for her, but at the same time, man, Carolina Kolkovitz, what are you doing?
That was not smart. That was not smart. But this overall, it was a really great card. UFC put on another great show. It was very
Yeah,
entertaining.
let me ask you this: did you get to see? I know Austin, you didn't see it early in the prelims. The Melissa Gatto and Victoria Leonardo, the referee stoppage. I thought it was a good thing the referee stopped that fight, for to continue going on with that on the TKO that she on the second round TKO.
I did not get to see that fight, so maybe you guys can tell me about it.
I didn't see it,
I'm
so I
the
mean,
I'm the only one that saw. She had a really nasty gash, and rightfully so.
Oh,
was it?
I saw the highlight on Twitter. It was a gash on her forehead.
yeah, it was nasty.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it looked like an eye. It looked like a third eye on her forehead.
ah,
Yes.
Turning into Krillin.
Yeah.
Or was
Oh,
it?
yeah.
I mean,
Tien from Dragon Ball Z, not
Tien,
Krillin.
Tien,
Tien.
Tien,
Yeah,
Tien,
yeah.
Tien.
She gave her enlightenment, opened the third eye. Like
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. No.
I only saw that, and like it was crazy. It was so bad. Like it's adult Twitter, but even then, they're like, "Yo, you gotta click a consent form in order for you to see this cut." And I'm like, "It's that bad?" And I saw that. And I was,
Ooh.
ugh, ugh. I'm glad I wasn't
Ooh.
eating.
Yeah, it is a little. It was a little. Yeah, it was a
I
little
mean,
gruesome.
it was like Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald from both of their in the second fight. If you ever watched, both of them, how bad they messed up each other, how their
Ooh,
cuts. Yeah, or back in the day with when Vitor Belfort fucked up, messed up Martin Eastman. He had that nasty gash above his eyebrow from Vitor knee. Yeah, those are like
or
iconically bad
or
gashes.
even more recently, you could say Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz.
Oh
That
yeah,
nasty gash he had on his eyelid, like is bad like that.
Ooh,
good point. Yeah,
ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, it was bad like that.
Yeah, and yeah. Oof, yikes. But hopefully she'll recover. Wait, who was the guy? I'm trying to remember now. Victoria, who could recover from that?
Victoria
Because
Leonardo. Yeah, Victoria
Leonardo,
Leonardo.
yeah, hopefully Leonardo can recover from that. Because no one wants that. That sucks. But yeah,
The
great
only thing
night.
that
Good.
I was gonna say, the only thing about those kind of cuts, are they successful later in the future to keep getting open up those wounds, those cuts, if they keep, since they've already been, because that's like the tissue and the scarring, that's bad. Or you think, as any fighters that you've seen keep getting injured with those kind of gruesome cuts?
Not gruesome. Like usually, if you're careful enough, it won't be that bad gruesome. But the Diaz brothers, Nate and Nick, are known for like having a lot of scar tissue on their eyes, so they cut easier. Stuff like that. Yes, but like gruesome though, like multiple gruesome cuts, not necessarily. I don't think anyone's got more than once that I can recall, especially in the same place.
Yeah, and I think it more so if she takes a karate approach, like what's her name when she fought Zhang Wei Li,
Rose? Oh,
Joanna.
Joanna. Oh, Joanna. Yeah, yeah.
Joanna, when she took they take the some of these fighters they like taking a karate approach where sometimes they'll block a punch with their forehead. So if she chooses to do that, then maybe maybe it may open up again from time to time, especially if you're taking a hook, because with the hook, the stitching of the glove on the side could maybe open it. But if you're taking a front force, just the front of the glove with all the cushioning, it might not open up again like that. It all
Interesting on that one. Interesting. So where we going through next? So
Okay, well, I mean, hang on. I hear a weird noise, like echo. Hang on. Okay, it stopped. Anyway, sorry, but anyway, there's no UFC this weekend. Next weekend is a UFC card, but there's a Bellator card this this Friday, and I'm hearing a weird noise. I don't know if that's me or hang on.
We don't hear anything on this side. I don't hear anything. Do you?
Nah,
Dan? I don't hear.
I could hear it. Oh well, it's gone now.
You could hear it.
Right.
Everybody's muted. You guys are all muted. Unmute yourself.
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
There we go.
weird. It's weird, the noise, but hang on. There, like I said, there is a Bellator event this Friday. It's actually a better one than I expected. I was checking it. I go, no, there's some interesting fights. Like, 3 really solid fights. Hey, Zach, can you mute yourself real quick and see?
Sure.
It looked like it was from you. It looked like there was something. I don't know what's up the mic and stuff, but it's gone. But yeah, there is like an interesting Bellator card, like Gegard Mousasi, who I consider to me the most underrated fighter in MMA history. Me personally, because no one ever brings him up. His legacy, like how many great fighters he's beat, from Mark Hunt to Jacare to Benji Machida, Chris Wyman, Vitor, Uriah Hall.
You're naming a lot of legends right now,
That
and it's
Gegard beat.
crazy because Jacare just recently retired.
Right, yeah, exactly. And shout out to Jacare, had a good career. Sad to retire. Sad his last fight was a broken arm. Like his arm got dislocated, but he had a good career. I mean, he was really, a great fighter. And him and Gegard Mousasi were 1-1. They both, beat each other. And I feel like there's someone else he beat too as a legend. I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, Roy McDonald. That's right. He did beat him in Bellator. Roy went up in weight. But yeah, but yeah, Gegard Mousasi is returning against John Salters, who is the number one contender in Bellator, who has won 10 of his last 11 fights, Salters. And, he has 10 submission victories. So it'll be interesting to see, how this fight goes. Salters might be providing him a challenge, but, I think Gegard's going to win because Gegard usually is consistent. I mean, the guy's 47, 7-2. I mean, people forget, Gegard's been fighting since back in the Pride days, in the mid 2000s. And he's still, elite. I mean, in my opinion, still an elite middleweight. I mean, you can make an argument he's still a top 5 middleweight in the world of all organizations. I'll put him there. And and when he left the UFC for Bellator, he was basically the number one contender for the middleweight title in UFC, but left for obviously get paid. So yeah, definitely excited to see Gegard Mousasi return against John Salters. Can't wait for that. In the co-main event, you have Andrey Koreshkov, the former welterweight champion, going against Sabah Hosmini. And it's great to see Koreshkov back. Koreshkov did beat Lima, and he's beating Benson Henderson. And Koreshkov is a very great striker. Very good wrestling, and should be and he's definitely a guy who in the welterweight division could definitely be a player, a force in that weight class. And he's a former Bellator welterweight champion. So I'm excited to see Koreshkov back after his first fight in Bellator in like almost 2 years because of COVID. COVID, prevented him from fighting. He did fall in Russia like several months ago. So, and he won that fight. And then, of
So
course,
he doesn't have ring rust or anything. So
no, nah, he
okay,
shouldn't. I don't think he
all right.
should. And also, then the third fight that's to me very interesting, and you can make an argument, it's a bantamweight title eliminator, is Magomed Magomedov versus Raufeon Stots. Raufeon Stots is 16-1. He's a NCAA Division II wrestling champion, and he's a good wrestler. I believe he's got nine decisions, 4 subs, and 3 KOs. But he's going against Magomed Magomedov, who's from Dagestan, who's the only fighter technically to beat Pierre Yan. Unless you count Aljamain in that whole decision, in that whole weird thing.
No, I don't count it because it's a decision. But like, if you're the only guy to beat Peter Yan, then yeah,
Yeah, him
that's
and
a
but
yeah, that's a good claim to fame.
yes, and Magomed Magomedov is 18-1. Him and Yan, his only loss was to Pierre Yan. Pierre Yan did beat him, so they're 1-1. Him and Yan. So it'd be cool to see them play again, hopefully down the road. But anyway, Magomed Magomedov he's won his last 5 fights since the Pierre Yan loss in the second Pierre Yan fight and back in Russia. 8 submissions, 6 decisions, 4 TKOs. And to me, the winner of this fight, in my opinion, should fight for the bantamweight title against Sergio Pettis, who Anthony Pettis' younger brother, who's looked pretty good. He was good. He did well in the UFC, and he's also looked good outside of UFC. And that Bellator 135 division is pretty solid too. I mean, they got some good fighters in that weight class. Sergio, Warren Archuleta, these two, Stouts and Magomed Magomedov, even James Gallagher or Conor McGregor Jr. if you want to call him that, because even Conor trained the same gym or used to, but he's really good. He's very good. Gallagher, Patchy Mix, yeah, the 135 and Bellator and UFC are both like pretty stacked. So there's some fights. I think this is three really three very good to great fights in this card. Definitely something to check out. Showtime this Friday. Yeah, it's Friday, and I'm looking forward to it. And also, I do want to mention that Bellator, the Russia card, Fedor Emelianenko is actually he has an opponent, Tim Johnson. They're gonna be fighting in Russia on October 23rd, I think it is. Yeah, October 23rd. So it'll be cool. It may be Fedor's last fight, and when we get close to that fight, I'm definitely gonna be really into that fight because Fedor is arguably my favorite fighter of all time. And it's also I want to get like a history lesson to explain Fedor's greatness to younger UFC MMA fans who don't understand why people hold Fedor in high regard. But yeah, definitely excited for that. And there's a lot going on in MMA, with Bellator and UFC. I think it was announced Cody Garbrandt's going down 125 to fight Kai France in early December, which I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that decision for Cody Garbrandt going down 125 personally, but we'll see. Kai,
Yeah,
France, it's not exactly an easy fight, and
he's not. Kai Carter France is not an easy fight.
especially going down bantamweight for your first fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe Cody can pull it off. Maybe not. We'll find out in early December. And yeah, and then next week the UFC returns with Calvin Gastelum and Jack Cannonier, which is a pretty good main event for middleweight. Calvin, I believe, is coming off the Ian Heinich win. I think, yeah, the Ian Heinich. No, Robert
No, he
Whitaker,
came.
right?
Robert Whitaker lost. Yeah.
Yes, and Cannonier, I think, he's also come off the Robert Whitaker loss too,
Yep. They're
because
both
Whitaker
coming off a
broke.
loss to Whitaker. Yep.
Yeah, because Whitaker broke his Cannonier's arm. If I'm mistaken, in that fight. Yeah, he did. He kicked No, he kicked Cannonier. Cannonier blocked him and ended up breaking Cannonier's arm to kick.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was actually the fight that Cannonier was supposed to use to propel himself to fighting Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but Whitaker shut that down. I mean, Whitaker's going to be fighting Israel probably by the end of the year. Whitaker's a beast. But yeah, I'm excited for this main event next week because these are, they're both dynamite guys who can end the fight anytime. Both got, you know, both of them have power in their hands. I mean, I've seen Cannonier. He's won some fights with knockouts. Same thing with Calvin. I mean, Calvin basically retired Michael Bisping. And also, I think Cannonier did knock out Jack Hermanson too, but not exactly the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Right, and these are two guys who are looking to bounce back. Who I think this fight can be fireworks. I think this fight can
Yeah,
maybe
it'll most definitely because uh Kelvin Gastelum is a guy who will swing with him.
right, and he's got a tough chin too. Calvin, I don't think he's ever been finished in a fight. Actually, I don't think in
No.
terms of knock because he's got that tough Mexican chin, which Mexican fighters it's hard to knock him out in
Yeah,
boxing
it's
or
really hard.
MMA.
Yeah. Yeah, which is yeah. That's how that's why I'm not even gonna lie, man. I made the wrong choice in the Brandon Moreno Davison Figueredo fight.
Second one,
Uh the second one.
yeah, I thought Figueroa was gonna win too. I
I
did the
thought
same thing.
Figueredo. It was, and my reasoning, and I said this, and this is dumb of me. I said it was because Figueredo was coming off of back-to-back victories. I believe he fought
Yeah,
like 3 times. Like his
yeah,
Brandon
three
Moreno
fights.
was the third fight, and
No,
he
four
had two.
fights.
No, he had 4 fights. So okay, so the Brandon Moreno was his third fight, was his fourth fight, but he had 3 fights prior, and one of them was to get to the contention, and then he got no, he missed a weight cut. He fought that fight. Then he came back, fought to contend. He got the title. He got the title. defended it once, and then defended it against Moreno. But
Right,
he
and
fought so much that I thought, like, he was just tired. But I don't, man, it should have dawned on me that with his history of not making weight, that he probably isn't, really focused during camp.
I
Because
think
that's
it's
part of,
I think yeah, I think it's part of that, but also he's just so big that he sometimes blooms up. I think that may be the problem. Maybe he
yeah,
blooms up to it
that's the
makes it
other
hard for
thing
him to cut
too.
weight.
That's the other thing too that I felt like he more so was like, after he had this title, like, you can get the title, cool, but I feel like he should move up to move up a weight class, and he'd be just as dominant then.
Right, yeah, exactly. And shout out Brandon Moreno because Brandon Moreno made the adjustments for the second fight and
Oh
really
yes.
dominate him, and that's why Brandon Moreno won the title.
Yep.
And yeah, and Brandon Moreno took some shots in that first fight. Like I said, proving that what called the Mexican chin, which it's hard to knock out Mexican. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you usually got to do a ton of punches and kicks just to wobble them. I mean, they know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's same in boxing, right, Dad? Mexicans known for the great chin.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're known for a good chin, and their punch is always the punch to the body. They love to go to the body, the left hook to the body. That's a Mexican staple.
And a
Yeah,
very fast
absolutely.
jab. And a very, very fast jab.
that's true.
A very, very fast jab. Their
Oh yeah,
jabs, like the left hand jab is, yeah,
yep.
it's God like yeah, the jab is, yeah. I mean, for most boxers, yeah, but then again, like, because what's his name? No, Mexican boxers, their jabs are serious.
Yes, they are. Oh, speaking of boxing, when is the Spencer? I mean, not Spencer. Spence and Manny Pacquiao. It's supposed to be soon, right?
I
It's
hope
supposed to be
so.
next weekend. It's supposed to be next weekend, and it got suspended because Earl Spence had a surgery. He cut his retina in his eye. And he's walking around with an eye patch. And they put a replacement of fight Pacquiao. The Pacquiao fight will be but continue next Saturday, but it will not be with Errol Spence. I have to get the young fighter's name. That he just stepped up to fight Pacquiao, but Pacquiao will be fighting, but not with Errol Spence because Errol Spence had a bow out due to a serious injury, a serious eye injury. He got cut on sparring, and I guess the glove might have cut his eye or something. But it's a serious injury. It sucks because we were all looking forward to that. We were actually going to do and we might, and I'm still contemplating. I got to see who wants to do a look along. While the fight is on, we'll break it down and look along on the program. That Saturday night. I know it's gonna be late, but hey, well, we had fun last time when we did a Yankee look along on the game, and we'll probably do a boxing. We wanted to do that because we shout out to one of our listeners, Kangaroo Jack from Australia down under. We had a date to actually do that fight, and he was going to come on the look along since they're 10 hours or 12 hours difference in Australia. It was going to be early morning for him, and while it was late at night for us to do the look along in the program. So I got to get with that to see with that, but that fight has been suspended. I also have Clarissa Shields. They announced that she's going to be fighting. They have an opponent for her, Abigail Montez for MMA October
PFL.
27th.
Okay.
Say again.
Well, good. No, no.
Yeah, the
At
PFL.
MMA.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
wondering if
the
it was MMA or
PFL.
boxing.
Yeah, it's PFL. And technically, PFL is just promoting the event. It's not theirs. I don't know. I don't know. It's their event, but it's not really theirs. And their name is on it, and they're promoting it, but they're saying that it's not their event.
Kind of
I,
like M1 Fedor with M1 Global in late 2000s.
I guess
Something like
it's
that.
weird. It's weird, but
Yeah.
she did find an opponent who I believe is moving up into the weight class, and they're both stand up heavy, so it should be basically a stand up fight. Hopefully, this girl is smart enough to, if she does stand up with Clarissa Shields, I want to see if she tests her with kicks. That's the next step, is find someone who's gonna test you in the kicking department, and how are you gonna stand up against that test? Because I'm excited to see Clarissa Shields in the ring again. Well, in the octagon again.
Right, yeah, I want to see, yeah, because obviously PFL, the big goal will be her and Kayla Harrison. If Kayla stays at PFL, that would be, two Olympic gold medalists, one in boxing, one in judo, fighting each other. I mean, that's a big deal. That's probably the end goal. Obviously, you want to build Carissa, so that way, when she that way she'll be eventually be able to challenge Kayla Harrison, which should be a big fight if Kayla stays at PFL because the talks Kayla is a free agent I think soon, and she may want to go maybe UFC or Bellator too. And she wants that cyborg fight in Bellator, but we'll see. Who knows?
Oh yeah, because Chris Cyborg, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Like she's over in Bellator, she's just dominating. Chris
Yeah,
Cyborg is just dominating in Bellator. I like her first move to Bellator was I believe was for the title,
yeah, she
and
struck
she's
with
been
Julia Budd.
dominating. Yeah, she's just been dominating ever since. And just watching her in that ring, it just feels like the only reason why she left the UFC is because the only fight that could have been made with Chris.
Um, looks like
Dan,
you lost
Dan will
Dan.
be back. Dan, we lost Dan for a second. I got the what you call it. Oh, Dan is back. Let's bring him back on there. Let's bring on Chef Dan back on the program.
Yeah,
Chef
man, it
Dan, you
happened
are back.
again. Yeah, but with Chris Cyborg, it feels like the only fight that she could have was Amanda Nunes. Just watching her go through the Bellator competition, it feels like, well, the only fight that that would even pose a challenge to her is Amanda Nunes.
Right, it's the
I,
same thing for
I
Amanda
wanted to
too with UFC. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wanted to chime that. Why hasn't Bellator given the young lady a rematch with to Cyborg? She was champion for a while until Cyborg just came on to Bellator and took her title, and they never even talked about a rematch. They haven't even fought a
Oh, I
rematch. Do you
think.
know why,
Well,
Alton?
I think because Julia Budd's a free agent now, so she's not part of the
Okay,
company. So she won her last
gotcha.
fight, but I don't know if she was like dominant enough champion to where she can get a rematch. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Julia Budd was, but I know she's a free agent now. So I don't know why you want to go UFC considering they have no featherweight division, women's featherweight at all. You might as
Yeah,
well you might as well just it looks like they're trying to get rid of that division eventually. You might as well stay at Bellator that has a 145 division or PFL or even if you want to go a major MMA organization. I don't understand. Think contemplating UFC. That just sounds like a bad business choice.
but see, the thing is, Chris took that title from her in such a dominating fashion that I don't know if, like, do you want that fight again? Was that a fight that she truly wanted again?
So, yeah,
We don't
maybe.
know.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean,
I mean, damn, you want a rematch to win your belt. I mean, she really wasn't that outclassed that badly. I mean, maybe you fought Cyborg, you saw what you had, what she what her power or and now you just gotta go trust your camp to make the adjustment and go get your title back. I mean, that's the way I see it. I mean, it wasn't a bad fight. It wasn't that she was totally outclassed or dominated, but yeah, she did lose. But I think with a good training camp and a smart corner, make the right adjustments and fight Cyborg. I mean, that's my
right.
opinion.
Right. Maybe it's possible she probably gives Cyborg a tougher matchup, but who knows? Like I said,
Or
maybe Bellator
maybe
didn't
the
want to give her.
company. Sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, so maybe Bellator wasn't interested in giving it a rematch. I think that's what you were pointing at, Dan.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, maybe the company didn't see that as a rematch that would have sold.
Right.
You're
Either
probably
way,
right.
yeah. Either way, we'll see. What happens with Julia Budd and what happens with Cyborg. I think Cyborg should probably be fine soon. 'Cause I think she was supposed to fight recently, but I forgot she got injured or something. Had to postpone the fight, so we'll see. And yeah, I mean, yeah. Basically, I think that's everything covered. I mean, like I said, next week is the UFC returns with Gastelum and Cannonier, which who knows who's gonna win? I have no idea. I mean, like I said, it's probably gonna be exciting. It's probably gonna live up. Who know, you know, we'll see. And I'm trying to look at the rest of this card, UFC card for next week, and anything that stands out. I mean, play Guida,
I
who's a
got it. I
veteran.
got it. I also got the prelims. Let me scroll it so you guys can see if you see any names that interest you there. Tell me if it starts to show. But I wanted to make a quick update on that. Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence. It's your Gordis Ugas is going to replace Errol Spence for the fight. So there is a fight, an opponent. It's still going to go on. I guess it's still going to be on pay per view because they had a lot of money invested in the pay per view fight. And there will be a fight. It still remains at 74.99 for the 21st. But hopefully he gets better. Spence recovers from his rectal injury and he gets his vision back. And first and foremost, that's more important before he could get back in the ring to fight. And I know he's still there because he's a talented boxer. That we were looking forward to that fight. To see that.
Yeah, it looked like it was a competitive fight for Pacquiao, and it looked like maybe Spence might get challenged because Pacquiao obviously looked good against Keith Thurman, and also, I mean, it seems like Spence has had some bad luck recently. I mean, there was that car. Well, actually, the car crash, he got lucky. You remember that car crash where it looked like it was crazy. You watched it, like it looked like Spence probably should have died, but he got
Yeah.
saved. But and then then he recovered. I think I forgot he beat somebody. Like I know he returned and like fought a good fighter and beat them. And then now he's supposed to fight Pacquiao, which is going to be the biggest payday of his career. The biggest fight of his career. And now he got this eye injury.
What was it? It was that kid that was with Mayweather that he
I feel like his name. His name
Oh my God! I can't believe I'm so
Like Andrey
versed in
something
boxing,
or
but I just saw something. No, oh man, Anthony
Because
Broner.
I know who you're talking about because he
It's Broner. I think it was Broner.
no, not
Uh,
Broner.
I'm pulling his record and Errol Spence, and it looked like his last fight was against Danny Garcia in December.
Danny Garcia, yes. Because I felt like when he called out Danny Garcia, I felt like he shouldn't have called out Danny Garcia.
Yeah, but
That's
he
when
had a fight. I'm referring to the fight when he just got back to the ring after his car injury. That's the one. But yeah, he did fight Garcia. I'll get it. I'll find it.
Nah, Garcia was the one he fought after the car injury.
Because I remember he fought Sean Porter.
Okay.
And,
Oh, so it might have been
That's
Sean
the
Porter.
guy.
no,
Might have been Sean.
No, I think the injury was the car accident was after the Sean Porter fight.
It was after the Sean Porter fight.
Right,
So
like
then,
right after.
So then it was Danny Garcia because I felt like he should have called out Bud Crawford.
Yeah, that's the fight.
Right. When is
It's a
Terrence?
fight to make, and this is what I don't like about boxing. When you have a fight to make, I don't know why it takes you guys so long. How long did it take for them to get Mayweather Pacquiao to go?
6 years.
Come on. Exactly. And these fighters age. You don't man.
Yeah, that's the problem with boxing. That's I think we all can agree.
But that's why we're talking about the UFC, right?
Yeah, and Bellator. UFC, Bellator. Yeah,
that's what frustrates us. That's what frustrates us with all that with the sport of boxing, and that's why the popularity and the gravitation to UFC and mixed martial arts combat sports is grabbing a lot of steam. Because right now we saw Gane win the interim heavyweight title, and you have a champion in Francis Ngannou. And if it was boxing, WBO, WBC, no knock on them, they will be fighting mandatory fighters. Maybe a Stipe or somebody else, a Stipe or another Hammernager heavyweight before, and then they'll milk it to finally put Gane versus Sinner. And no, MMA wants to put these guys to fight already, and the UFC, that's why you gotta love it. They want to fight already in December, to close the year out, and we're like, yeah, take my money. That's why when they say pay-per-view or ESPN Plus or if you have UFC Fight Pass, so here you go. Here's my here's my my security code in the back of my card, and go ahead and charge me every month because you're going to give me a product that I want to see. Look at this here and there's not a knock. They got to make their money, but you got Errol Spence drop out can you at least drop the pay-per-view to $49.99 instead of $7? If you kept it at $79.99, drop it down $49.99. You're still gonna make money. People are still gonna buy it because it's still boxing.
And it's
Yeah,
Manny Pacquiao too fighting.
the seats
Yeah,
are still gonna
exactly.
sell because it's Manny Pacquiao. It's not even really the I mean, the pay-per-view money is nice and all, but you want the seats to fill.
Right,
You
right.
really
And
want the seats to fill.
nothing looks bad to see a large boxing event with an empty stadium. I saw that with the Julio Cesar Chavez final fight versus Hector Camacho Jr. The stadium was not that packed. It's an eyesore TV. I also saw it for the Logan Paul Mayweather fight in South Florida. Granted, it was a little early, and then they turned the lights off, and they said it was packed, but the stadium was really a little empty. It doesn't look good aesthetically when you outprice people to not go to an event, and especially if the fighter has dropped out. Boxing is an event. If it's in Vegas, you want to make a weekend. Men go on trips. A bunch of guys here. Maybe one. Hopefully when things get a little more calmer. Well, who knows? One of these days, the channel does well. We get our support. I'll fly everyone out there, and we'll go to a UFC event in the Octagon, in the Apex. We'll go to the Apex, or we'll go to the T-Mobile Arena, or we might even head to Madison Square Garden and meet you there to a fight, and we'll take the program on the road. Hopefully, when everything goes well in the future, never put a limitation. Speak it to existence. And we'll move.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, and those are the things that we would like to do in the future. And if it looks, we want to be able to go to these events, and we'll make a trip out of it, because it's going to be 3 to 4 of us gentlemen having a good weekend to watch the fight, have lunch, have dinner, maybe have a few drinks, of Johnny Walker Blue or whatever the case, a little whiskey, or a men's weekend of watching the fights and enjoying our company and doing a program. And if you're gonna not, that's what people look forward to as an event, to go to circle around the calendar to a fight. And that's why boxing needs to continue to keep giving good product. And it happens so much with these injuries. You saw, unfortunately, we can't do nothing about it. COVID is real. Trust me, we went through it last week here, and we saw that that Tyson Fury had a bow out from the Wilder fight because of the COVID-19 issues come up. But boxing has to continue to give us fights and not procrastinate and not linger with these. When there's 2 quality fighters, put them in there. And let's get it going, man. And I think that, they want to continue holding on to the few people that are really following it, because it does draw. Because, like I said, it's an eventful thing on a Saturday nights. You want to go with a bunch of guys, either Vegas, Atlantic City, and wherever the fight event is, and you want to just go have fun. And I think they need to continue capitalizing that and not lose out to UFC, because UFC do the same thing on a Saturday night. That's UFC from the early prelims all the way to the main event is nothing but nonstop action. I watched all of them, and those early prelims, you got some good knockouts, man. Some good knockouts, some good fights, and my point is, boxing better open his eyes and get with the program, because they're gonna end up being a dying breed, unfortunately.
Right, and also as someone's been to 2 UFC events, the arena, they make it very like a fun atmosphere with the music playing between fights, especially early prelims. That's another thing they do. And also, the UFC, it does make events, like especially like if they go like to Houston or maybe Vegas for a big time card, they'll make it like like a weekly event. Feels like a big event, especially especially a big fight, and that's something boxing. It works for boxing, it works for MMA, and yeah, and also shoot, I had another point I was gonna make. Oh yeah, my goal is to I want to go versus. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say also, the one thing huge about the UFC is the meet and greet. As you guys both of my sons have gone to the UFC events, various in different part of the state of Florida, they have meet and greets. You take pictures. You get to meet these fighters, Dustin Poirier, Jorge Masvidal. You get to meet these fighters before the fights. A whole fan veil and event, and they're so friendly and interactive. You gravitate to that sport because of that fan interaction, that personal, appeal and meet these folks. They're just regular folks that are just going there to fight and entertain us, and you respect that. And I think they're getting it. I think no matter how much criticism Dana White gets for his the pay issue, and they have his faults. Yes, there's faults, but he kind of gets it when it comes to fanfare and fan interaction and fan experience, in my opinion.
The last thing I'll say to that is, like you guys said, with boxing, it doesn't look good with an empty arena because then it just looks like an unlicensed fight. It looks like two amateurs trying to get their license.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, and also, yeah, good point. And also, I do want my goal is to go MMA, big time MMA event, like a Bellator, UFC in Brazil. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. But it's different from America. A big show, MMA show in Brazil. It's something I want to experience once. But yeah, that's my final take on it.
That'll be something. That'll be something to take the program on the road, be able to go do a program in a corner with a banner and just start, and or even when we do when the greet and meet, interview and ask these folks, these fighters, these young men and women that are gonna fight or who just hang around on those cards. I did, and by the way, guys, I did send a DM and a message inviting Kevin Holland. No response. I did put it on the Twitter to come on the program. We all know that wasn't gonna happen, but I did put it out there. I put the feelers out. I'll continue. Continue putting feelers out to any of the MMA fighters that want to come on the program and just bless our program with your presence. And we would like to just say hello and interview you and ask you guys, the difference in and out if anyone's watching from the UFC that wants to come on and bless the program. We would like to have you on as a panelist, and just to close panel. We'll ask you a couple questions about the fights, your training camp, and so forth. It will be a pleasure on there. We'll definitely would like to have it. I'll send these feelers out, and hopefully someone from the MMA or from the Bellator, UFC, or Pride, or any other fighting combat sports would like to come on. And just tell us, the ins and outs of the training and all the hard work and dedication. We want to speak with you on that. Anyone out there that's viewing the program on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, or any of the platforms that I know that we get a lot of views after the fact. We go off the air. We get and anyone that wants to come on, this is an open discussion panel. We would love to have you on.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I agree. I echo that. And I think it's a great way to close the show. I mean, any final thoughts?
I know we talked about next week with the UFC, but I can't wait for the Darren Till versus Derek Brunson card.
Oh yeah, that's right. Got announced.
There is a new fighter who's making a whole lot of noise. Patty the Batty Pimblett.
Oh yeah,
I've watched a couple of his fights. He's supposed to be one of the preliminaries on that card. I'm looking forward to watching a fight of his, especially in the UFC, and that's what I end on.
Yeah, I agree, and he's a big name from England. He's got a lot of hype, and we'll see. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll break that fight down. The Hill and Brunson fight. Yeah, Brunson fight as it gets closer. It's only in a few weeks, so can't wait for that. And yeah, that's my closing statement. And hopefully, it was a great week last week with the UFC. Hopefully, we get another good show of Bellator, and hopefully we get good fights. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, remember, guys, there's no UFC fights this Saturday, but there will be a Bellator show. But we want to thank you guys for joining the program. Myself, Austin, Chef Dan. We're changing your name. It's gonna be Chef Dan because you're breaking it down, man. Absolutely. But everyone, have a good week. And thanks for joining the program. May the sports be with you. And let me put our intro, and then we'll be out of here.